What's up guys, I got the pencil here, and here we are to do a tier list of the story arcs of Jujutsu Kaisen. Don't worry, I am going to cover all of them, but for the first part I will just be covering the anime, then I will be covering manga spoilers. So I will tell you in the video when I'm getting into manga arcs only, so you won't get spoiled. I don't want you to spoil. This series is really good in terms of its storytelling, and the less it's spoiled, the better. Trust me, I accidentally spoiled myself on a couple things in this series already. So well, not already, I've caught up, but before I read it, I accidentally spoiled myself on a couple things. But for enough of that, enough preamble, let's get into it. Alright, so let's see, which one is the first of all of them? Prologue? I'm not exactly sure. I just know which arcs are manga only, I'm not gonna lie. Let me see. Cursed Training. I'm not sure. Let me see. Cursed. I'm not sure which ones. I believe the order goes something like this. Goodwill event. Yeah, because I know these. Prologue. Yep, that should be that. Origin of Obedience. I feel like that goes there. Then there's manga. Alright. And then versus Mojito. I feel like there are arcs missing. From this tier list, but I think they just like cover a whole bunch in larger sections. So let's get into it. I think the Cursed Training, aka the entire introductory arc, it's alright. I think I like a lot of aspects of it. That's the thing. I like Gojo's introduction. I like Sukuna's introduction. I even like Itadori's introduction. I especially like Megumi's because of his cool power set. And honestly, if this is everything, you know what? See, that's the thing. Cursed Training spans so much that I like that I can't say it's just alright. Because not only does it give me the Fire Sukuna introduction, not only does it give me the introduction to basically our entire main cast in terms of Gojo, Itadori, Nobara, and Megumi. It gives us all that. Then on top of that, it gives us a little bit of Itadori's development, his understanding, the introduction of the rogue cursed spirits that are going to be the main enemies of the series. There's a whole ton of stuff that get introduced in this arc that even as a setup arc, while I would say if we were just to cut this off like the introductory school arc, I would dock points off it because a lot of the things there are like kind of mentioned but never become prevalent again. Like there's this long time period where, not necessarily long, but there's a time period where Itadori was supposed to be wielding weapons, but then he suddenly switched purely to his fists, so all the weapon training seems kind of pointless. Then of course there are all of Itadori's friends that were introduced in chapter 1 just to get like off-screen fodder never mentioned again. That happens. I think, is the girl mentioned? I'm not sure if the girl's mentioned. I don't even think she is. I think that's a completely different person. So I think, yeah, a lot of early Cursed Training arc is a lot of like pointless stuff. Like I'd say a lot of the first chapter you essentially don't need to read because no, you kind of need to read it because it has Sukuna's introduction. So like the back half of the first, it's really a lot of setup. That's the thing. I feel weird about the early Cursed Training arc, but in terms of everything it introduces, considering I think this is legitimately everything, all the way up to like Nobara's introduction and Gojo versus Jogo, I think there's too much good stuff in this arc that makes it great. It's just not true perfection. Some parts of the early Jujutsu Kaisen are like I go to eat it, and it's a little bit too generic. Like it's a little bit too flavorless for me. And there's a lot of that in Cursed Training, but there's too much top tier quality introduction of Infinity, the introduction of Jogo, the introduction of the Cursed Spirits art, introduction to the main villain, all our main characters getting introduced, all their cool introductions, the entire fight Nobara had in the school, all that stuff, hairpin, the 10 Cursed Shadows technique introduction, heck, all this, yeah, I can't really downplay it. Yeah, it's so great. It's a great arc, and it's a great way to open up the series, I'd say, because it leads into so much. Because it sets up a lot, and while a lot of it gets dropped, such as the Itadori weapon wielding, all of Itadori's high school friends, we basically get an introduction to a world that is very different to the introduction that we end up seeing later on. That's just world development, so I can't dock many points off for Cursed Training. It's just not to perfection. But enough of talking about Cursed Training. Let's get into versus Mojito. True perfection. Now, why? Here's the thing. I love when authors like fully cognitively understand that they have a main character, right? And they're like, darn, this main character is supposed to be like, idealistic. He's supposed to be fighting for a good reason. That's another reason. That's another point I have to give to the Cursed Training arc. It gives us all of the reasoning for Itadori's want to be a warrior and his want to help people. So I like that a lot. But basically, I like it when main characters are taken up by their authors. Like they're picked up, they're looked at, and they're like, man, it'd be wonderful if I just broke you over my back, right? Broke you over my kneecap on some bang type beat. And I love that because versus Mojito is like the opening of Itadori's like mental suffering. Because while, admittedly, even before reading, I didn't spoil myself on Junpei. I just read it. And, like, I could sense it. Like, y'all ever get those feelings when you're reading something where you're like, that character's gonna die. He's gonna die, or he's gonna go through something that's gonna lead him to die. Like, that's the thing. I felt that the moment I started reading the versus Mojito arc, when Mojito gets introduced and we see Junpei, I'm like, we already have the main anime trio plus the teacher. There's usually never enough time for a quartet. So I knew Junpei was gonna die, but it was the fact that Itadori didn't know Junpei was gonna die. Like, watching Itadori build up this connection to Junpei, Junpei build up this connection to Itadori, all of Junpei's betrayal, all the stuff like that, the introduction of Mojito as a villain, and how he interacts with characters like Sukuna and Itadori specifically. It sets up the entire predator versus prey dynamic, which lasts basically for their entire relationship up into the manga. Like, trust me, you're gonna love Mojito later on in the manga if you like him already. So I think in terms of everything this arc does, from introducing a character who was made to die, admittedly, as even in the volumes, you can see Akutami Sensei admits that, yeah, I knew Junpei's fate from the start. There wasn't no deliberate thinking on that. I knew he was going to die. He by structuring the arc around the idea of Junpei being a temporary introduction, mainly just Junpei being a tool for Itadori's development, is what makes this arc work so well. Because this is the first arc where Itadori kills humans. Sure, they're disfigured humans. Sure, one of them was attacking him. Junpei was legitimately attacking him and going for the kill. But the thing that made it great was that it was the first thing. It was one of Itadori's main rules. He never wanted to kill humans. He never wanted to kill anybody. But due to his own need to survive, due to his need to help more people before he dies, due to his status as Sukuna's vessel, who needs to absorb all 20 fingers and then die to help out more people, all of that. And then he realizes that he's got to kill humans. He has to avenge Junpei, and he's forced to fight Mojito. All that is just so much good stuff in that arc. Like, actually good, meaty character stuff for our main character, which is very rare to see. Like, honestly, I know Curse Training, this arc, as they describe it here, envelops a whole lot that isn't technically enveloped in the real-time status. No, it basically chunks up a whole parts of the narrative. But really, versus Mojito, this entire arc is very, very early on within the narrative. So to see it go as deep as it did to damage Itadori mentally as a character, really, really good. Obviously, this is our introduction to Nanami too. Nanami's a fantastic character with a really interesting ability, and obviously we get the iconic scene of just Nanami and Itadori just tearing Mojito apart. And that's the thing, I like every single character who's introduced, even if some of them are just introduced to die or introduced to never be seen again, such as Junpei's mom. But regardless of that, I think Akutami Sensei did a great job of structuring the story so that every single beat hit. And even if, like, I'm not sure if we were supposed to, there's some times where I know a author will kill off a character just to develop said character. There are situations in other anime, which I don't want to spoil, like, still spoil, I'm not even going to say, but y'all know, there are some characters that an author will introduce just to kill off, to force the development of another character. And with Junpei's case in the versus Mojito arc, I think it was done very, very well. Like, sure, it was telegraphed heavily, at least to me, but that's, once again, just because I read a lot of stories. I take in a lot of stories, so I'm better, not necessarily the best, I'm still, can very easily get bamboozled, but I'm better at guessing it, that Junpei was going to die, so I, like, put up my emotional walls to his death. But the effects it had on Itadori and how he literally said, these are the words that came out of my mouth made me feel like every other thing I said was a lie. Mojito, I'm going to kill you. Yo, that moment, it's stuff I really like in characters, where they're broken down to their fundamental aspects, when they're put in a situation that they never expected themselves to be in, and they reveal their true colors. I love that. And the Versus Mojito arc does that fantastic. Let's move on from the Versus Mojito arc to Origin of Obedience. It's alright. I like, actually, wait. Is Origin of Obedience, no, that's different, right? Am I thinking of something else? Origin to Obedience. What is that? Hold on. I'm gonna have to do it. 1 second. I'm being mad unprofessional right now, but hold on. Origin of Obedience. What arc was that? So, like, as y'all can tell, what is it? Origin of Obedience. Which arc is this in? Origin of Obedience. Then what's the cursed? Hold on now. Man, I should have double checked this tier list before I started doing it, but hold on. Cursed Jujutsu Kaisen. Let me see. Ooh, what is this? Oh, I messed up. Okay, so Origin of Obedience is something way different, and it's gonna go way higher. Let me see. Am I tripping? Okay. Okay. All right. So, wait, and is this the... Oh, yeah, I'm tripping. Hold on. Pardon me. I was tripping. Let me see. Was I tripping? I was, in fact, tripping. All right. Origin of Obedience. I'm sorry, bro. You're going to have to be talked about in a little bit. Prologue, the Cursed Womb Arc. Why do we exist? I don't know. You didn't need a prologue. But now that I remember what the Cursed Womb Arc is, it's great. It's our actual, yo, you are sliding down to all right. Curse Training, get your behind back down there. I thought you introduced Nobara. I was wrong. So basically, Cursed Womb introduces Nobara, gives us the entire thing, gives us Sukuna versus Megami, gives us a reveal of Sukuna's ability. It gives us the entire factor. It gives us, yo, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. When I read the manga for the first time, I had spoiled myself on something. And then the arc, I'm not sure if it does in the anime, because once again, I only watch parts of the anime. I'm more of a manga reader. It opened up with one of the students of Jujutsu High dies in the Cursed Womb event. And I'm like, they gonna kill off Nobara the moment they introduce her? That's wild, bro. I was sitting here like, because the spoiler that I read wasn't even related to Nobara, but I'm like, you're opening up with a death? Like, Nobara's the latest introduced. There's no way you're killing off our main character. Then they killed off our main character, but it was a twist. How Sukuna had to bring him back. I like that. So much. Like, that is once again, like, Akutami Sensei, like, flipping the script on you. Like, you would expect him to kill off Nobara because she's, like, the newest and she doesn't have any development so far. And she was just introduced this arc. So, seeing her get introduced and having her die would be, like, a sharp shock to the system. However, being it that Itadori dies and that leads into the binding vow between him and Sukuna. We see Sukuna versus the Finger Bearer, and then Sukuna versus Megami. Like, all this stuff is really, really cool. I like the entirety of this arc. It's great because it introduces us to more characters. It introduces the concept. I'm pretty sure this is the introduction of the concept of binding vows, which is also really, really cool. It's a very important aspect of the series, and it gets more and more important as the series goes on. So it introduces us to Nobara, our tertiary main character, or I guess quaternary, because we're introduced to Gojo by this point, and he's definitely one of the main characters. But basically, we get introduced to our tertiary or quaternary main character. Then we have the introduction of Sukuna's ability. Then we have the introduction of Binding Vows. Then we have the reveal of the reverse curse techniques. We get tons of really cool fights here. We get the reveal of we get the reveal of the cursed doll technique of Nobara's. Really, really good stuff. I like it a lot. Seriously. I think this arc does fantastic work at introducing concepts, introducing a new character. Tons of great stuff. I think it's great. What keeps it back from true perfection? Not to say the arc is, like, it doesn't necessarily have that much emotional impact, at least on my front. Like, it's cool. It was like, thing is, as much as I like the flip of killing Itadori, I'm sorry, bro. You're being published in Shonen Jump. I know you aren't killing off the main character this early on. So, like, while the shock value hit, because I didn't think it was going to be Itadori, the payoff of it, like, it's not enough. It doesn't do necessarily enough for Itadori's character. It's once again still an introductory arc, so it's not meant to do much for our characters. And thus, unlike versus Mojito, which does a lot for Itadori as a main character, I can't give the Cursed Womb arc that much outside of the fact that it introduces a new character, introduces cool techniques, introduces the idea of binding vows, introduces a ton of concepts and cool techniques and a cool character. It's just not enough to get it into that true perfection range. Now, the Goodwill Kyoto event. Wait, do I have to do Origin of Obedience first? Questions. No, I don't. I get to talk about it. Alright. So I love the Kyoto Goodwill event, mainly because it holds my favorite fight, honestly, in the entire series. Hanami versus Todo and Itadori is my favorite fight in the entire series. Maybe. Actually, you know what? No. Man, I can't talk about it because I'm trying to just cover anime stuff for y'all, anime onlys. I don't want to spoil y'all. Still haven't gotten to the manga just yet. However, it's spicy. The Goodwill event arc, it introduces us to so many more characters who actually, shockingly enough, have moments later in the manga. Like, Y'all know me, I'm very much a pessimist when I get introduced to characters. Not every manga can be a Dr. Stone, where every single character, whether you think it or not, is going to have relevance. But this arc not only introduces us to so many characters, including characters such as Todo, aka one of the best characters in the entire series. It introduces us to multiple techniques. Miwa, Mekamaru, Maki's sister, all these different characters. When were they introduced? Were the second years introduced in this one too? Basically, we get so much cool stuff in this arc. We get to like the active usage of cursed speech. Toge becomes more than just a meme for speaking in sushi parts. Is it sushi? Is it sushi or onigiri parts? I'm not sure which one it is. But basically, he becomes less of a meme and just becomes so much more serious. The haunting text. I love this. The way Hanami shows up and just... Here's the thing. When talking about building presence with your villains, I'm definitely going to do an entire video on building a presence with your villains. But the thing is, when Hanami showed up, there was like a drastic sense of, oh no. Like, I felt intimidated when when Hanami stepped on the scene. Like, I felt shook. I felt a little bit concerned. I didn't know how to feel in it. And that's what I like. When Hanami showed up and he just became a pure, absolute, indirect menace to everybody present. And like the weird speech he was doing, fantastic. The introduction to all these characters, fantastic. The fights themselves, honestly, Megumi and Maki versus Hanami, fantastic. Todo and Itadori versus Hanami, fantastic. Honestly, Nobara versus which girl? I'll admit, I can't remember her name. Like, I praise this arc for introducing a lot of characters that get used later, but honestly, she was like one of the least memorable. And despite that, she has one of the most like important reasonings behind it too. Like, she talks about the inequality of the Jujutsu world when it comes to females. And I respect that, but she gets bodied by Nobara, and that's the most interesting part. Maki's sister, I think the fight between her and Maki, fantastic. Like, this arc is filled with so many fantastic moments. Panda versus Mekamaru, these cursed machine, not really machines, like, Panda is a cursed doll, but at the same time, he's a real panda. Like, there's so many different things that go on in this arc that get introduced. There's so much stuff to cover in this arc that I'm definitely going to talk about it in its own video. Like, the Kyoto Goodwill event is like the tournament arc / the Chunin exams / it's mainly Chunin exams. Like, I've had to say, the Kyoto Goodwill event is the Chunin exams of Jujutsu Kaisen. It does very, very good with pretty much every character involved. I'm definitely going to talk about it on its own. Basically, it's fantastic. And obviously, we get introduced to Purple and Gojo entering creative fully. Like, we already knew Gojo was in creative, but then he like truly showed off that, yes, he doesn't play by the same rules as the rest of the cast. And I think that's fantastic. But let's move on to the origin of obedience. I think it's great. Yeah, better than Curse Womb, but it's not perfection. Here's why. As much as I like the origin of obedience for what it does for Megumi, like seeing Megumi go all out and create his like incomplete Chimera Shadow Garden, amazing. Him versus the Finger Bearer, fantastic. We get the fight between the two cursed brothers and Itadori and Nobara, fantastic. I love it. We get to see, well, we get to learn more about Megumi and his backstory and all that. Great. It's weird to say not enough happens in the arc. Like, it's not that not enough happens, because we get really good moments. We pretty much get good moments for every single main character. Like, Itadori has his moment in the fight with the two Cursed Wound Painting brothers. We get Nobara's moment, which is honestly one of my favorite moments in the entire series, where she uses hairpin. And honestly, one of the facts that makes her one of my favorite characters is the whole, when she says, let's play a game of chicken, stabs herself with a nail. Ooh, do I have to slide it up? I'm not trying to slide it up. And the Chimera Shadow Garden. Ooh, Sukuna doesn't pop up much during this arc, though. Does Megumi's development carry it? I think Megumi's development carries it. It's like, it's not as good as versus Mojito or the Kyoto Goodwill event for me, but Origin of Obedience, it does slide into true perfection. I love it because of how much of a menace Megumi becomes, and we realize why he's a menace. Like, the panel of him clasping his hands together and laughing at his own incomplete domain, beautiful. The entire game of chicken Nobara plays, the finishing blow dealt by Itadori to the two people, the two cursed wounds, all of that, fantastic. Yeah, this is a true perfection arc. That's another arc. Will I talk about? I'll mention that arc more. It may not get its own video like I want to do with the Kyoto Goodwill event, but it may get its own, like, it's a big focal point for Megami's character in short, so I may have to talk about it more. And it's one of the biggest points for Nobara's character too. So that arc may have to get talked about in its own video. It is really, really good. I'm not even gonna lie. And this is it. Spoilers for the manga. If y'all are here and y'all anime onlys, you can't go any further. I'm sorry. We hit manga territory and I ain't holding back. I will give y'all 10 seconds to get out. Get out. Y'all see these arcs down here. Y'all don't want to see it. Y'all don't want to get spoiled. Then go. If y'all don't care about spoilers, if y'all like me on that menace mentality sometimes and don't care about spoilers, then stick around. We got a lot to talk about. But this is it. And yeah, I was being mean. To be fair, I was being mean to Prologue to Curse Wound. Obviously, I was just messing around. It's a meh. It's still not even alright. Like, why does it exist? But regardless of that, 10 seconds. Counting down now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. I'm sorry. 6, 5. If y'all get that reference, please drop in the comment section down below. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gojos Past arc is fantastic. Alright. Here's the thing. Is it better than Goodwill? Nah, it doesn't have my favorite character. No, I'm kidding. But it does have my favorite. Gojo's fire. But the thing is, let's talk about Gojos Past. Now, here's the thing. I'll admit, this arc sucker punched me right out of nowhere. Like, I'm gonna reread Jujutsu Kaisen in a bit. After more of it comes out, obviously, it's only 150 chapters deep, so really I should reread it. But I'm pretty sure this comes directly after Origin of Obedience, and in the manga, like, it just threw me off. I'm not even gonna lie, I was reading the manga, and then we cut to, like, Gojo in the past, like Gojo's Past arc. And it feels so, like, whiplashy. Like, I'm not sure if there's a transition that I just missed or something like that. But other than that shaky start, Gojo's Past arc slaps. It introduces some of my favorite characters. Once again, like, yo, all these arcs are introducing a lot of your favorite characters. It gives you a lot of favorite characters. Yes, I do. And Toji Zenin is a menace. And he's my favorite kind of menace. He's the person that, he's the Batman, but, like, more menace-like. He's the Batman that pulls up and is like, yo, I ain't got no powers. I can't control no cursed spirits. I can't create infinity between you and I. Heck, I can't even punch you with some cursed energy. However, what I can do is stab you and shoot you. And every normal thing a real man can do. I love it so much. Toji Zenin is so cool because, like, he is tactical in a way you wouldn't expect to be tactical. Like, the way he uses all the assassination bounty on his head, because he knows none of them is going to really be able to defeat Gojo. None of them are going to be able to truly kill him or the Star Plasma Vessel, to just tire them out to get his own chance against Gojo. And the way he, like, goes in, and really, this is the only state where we see Gojo, like, weak, fodder, body baggable, because he just got outplayed. Like, you got to imagine that in Gojo's mind, even at this point, before he became full sociopath and, like, just stopped caring, before he truly achieved enlightenment, he still believed himself to be the peak of creation. Like, y'all know that. While he had a friendship with Geto, you knew for a fact, in his own mind, Gojo was top dog, cream of the crop, top of the top. Like, undoubtedly, in his mind, he believed that. However, to see him get humbled like that, I don't know. As much as I love confident characters, like, I love Escanor, I love Gojo, I love Vegeta, I love all of these very, very confident, top dog, top of the line characters. There's something that hits different about seeing them get humbled, especially by someone you wouldn't expect them to be humbled by. Like, imagine you have the strongest curse technique in the entire world, and not only that, but you have the variation of the technique. You have the perfect combo meal that allows you to just perfectly use it in a way that's never even been used before. You're Gojo Satoru, and you get body bagged by a person with no powers. Not one. Sure, he's a normal person that's super, super strong, but still, you got body bagged by no powers, dog. You know that had to hurt his pride. That's what woke him to enlightenment. Not the fact that he was literally practically dead. It was the fact that my man got body bagged. Now, honestly, the only thing I could really critique this on, I love Gojo's development here. I love Gojo's development, and this is the entire introduction to Geto, who isn't necessarily a character. Yeah, I'm gonna spoil the territory. Y'all, if y'all ain't caught up, I'm spoiling everything now. I'm free. Yo, I haven't been free to talk about spoilers this entire month. Y'all know it's time. But basically, Geto isn't even really our villain. like for our main series, we know it's the Kenjaku. That's our real villain. Geto's body and his abilities just being used as a vessel. But even then, seeing Geto's fall from grace, like he who wanted to protect the humans, through he viewed them as nothing but monkeys. Fantastic. I love seeing it because we get to see, we understand where Geto's coming from. Like he sees these humans who have this fear of the unknown, and then we're torturing sorcerers, and then just didn't want it, and we're so out there and above, and we see all the different groups that worship Tengen. This arc, honestly, once again, is probably getting its own video. Man, see, there's so many videos I have to do. Like that's the thing. I wonder if y'all wonder, because like sometimes I occasionally will sit back and wonder, man, am I ever gonna run out of content to talk about? But no, there's so many things I want to talk about. But this arc, there's so much for setting up abilities, explaining Gojo's past, giving us all these different characters, even though I think one of them dies and one of them just never gets mentioned again. But even then, the star plasma vessel for Tengen, it builds up Tengen himself. All this arc does so much good that I don't. Favorite moment, obviously, and another contention for my favorite fight in the series, y'all may have noticed, I was like, is Todo and Itadori versus Hanami my favorite fight, or is it Gojo versus Toji Zenin? I don't know, because it's so fire, bruh. It's literally, it's too good. It slaps. It tastes too good. I love so much of this arc. I'm definitely going to go in depth in a separate video, but reasons I like it so much: Gojo's past, obviously the introduction to Geto and his beliefs and his fall from grace, fantastic. The introduction of the ideas of Tengen and the Star Plasma Vessel, fantastic. All the different characters that get introduced in this arc, fantastic. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's true perfection. But I love this so much. It introduces, like, these two are in a constant fight in my head. Like, number one, like, another reason I didn't just do a traditional, like, top 5 or top 10 arcs for this show is because, like, there are 3 arcs that, well, let me be real with y'all. Enough wasting y'all time. We gonna talk about Volume 0. It's great. I don't think it's perfection. Almost because Okatsu, I'm not sure how to say his name. Yuuta. I'm just gonna call him Yuuta. Yuuta is a great character for the fact that he starts off as a not great character. Like, y'all know what I mean? He starts off as this he's really new to this entire world. He doesn't understand Jujutsu at all. He doesn't understand what his cursed spirit Rika is doing. He doesn't understand anything. So seeing him slowly grow and develop, like, that's the thing. I love his development. His comfortability growing happens off screen, but you can understand it. Like, you can fill in the context clues behind everything. And this is really the only time you truly get Geto as a villain. Like, he dies, he gets off screen pretty much, which is the Volume 0 fight, ironically enough. He gets off screen in Jujutsu Past arc, and this is because Volume 0 precedes even Jujutsu Kaisen itself, I'm pretty sure. Like, I think it's serialization in the manga. Volume 0 is very, very old. So it makes sense why Geto's fight gets off-screen here, but finding out that Yuta's the one that killed him, and not killed him, did most of the damage, and that Yuuta was the one who's, like, so legitimately dangerous that it's hard to even comprehend how powerful he was because of his immense levels of curse energy, and that Rika itself was basically just the queen of curses, this endless source of curse energy. So much cool stuff gets introduced in Volume 0. It's cool to see Inumaki's past. It's cool to see his older design. It's cool seeing Maki before she became the full menace that she was in the current series. It's cool seeing a little bit of Panda. Panda wasn't really featured much in Volume 0, but obviously because so much had to happen, all of, even not Geto's, because we saw his design already. His design is still being used, it just has the stitches on his forehead in the main narrative. But Gojo's design with the bandages over his eyes rather than the blindfold, really, really cool. This arc does a lot of good backstory stuff, and I like Yuta's character a lot. I think the only reason it's not true perfection is because a good chunk of his development into a regular person, and thus his power growth into a guy who could barely wield a sword, to just fully on adapting in the middle of a fight, wielding a blade, activating Rika's true power, to fighting all 4,146 cursed spirits all in one in the technique of Uzumaki and just casually bodybagging it. I think it does a little bit too much off screen, because it's only 4 chapters long. I can't even get mad at Akutami Sensei for that, but I can't give it full praises. But it's still very, very good. It's still great. Now, all right. So, like, Sucker Punch me one day and demand me to tell you your favorite arc. I'm gonna say Gojo's Past. Sucker Punch me another day. Tell me wait. Well, let me restart. Sucker punch me one day and ask me what's my favorite Jujutsu Kaisen arc. Gojos Past may just slip out my mouth. Ask me another day, what's my favorite Jujutsu Kaisen arc? The Kyoto Goodwill event may just slip out my mouth. Ask me on a recent day, like at 99.9% of days, the Shibuya incident is my favorite. Mainly because it does so much. AKA does really good with every single character involved. And I mean every single character. Does fantastic still no bar. Literally almost kills her all. Does fantastic for introducing different characters. The Dagon, who gets introduced, well, he's not introduced in this arc. He gets introduced forever ago. But he's used in this arc at his full power and then gets off by the the possession of Toji. Bro, like so much happens in this arc. I've been going on for so long. Okay, favorite moments from the arc. I'm just gonna like hit y'all with the favorite moments. I've been going on for way too long in this video. I know I have. I haven't even checked the time, but I know I've been going on for way too long. Basically, all of Yudi's development, his development from full prey into predator after Mojito becomes a menace and murders Nobara. Fantastic. All these stuff where we see the reintroduction of Todo after so long in the manga. My boy Todo finally re-pops up again. Fantastic. We have the entire Nanami's death. That's how you kill off a character right there. I didn't cry, admittedly. It didn't catch me. Once again, that's where I played myself so hard. I bet it would hit. Like, that's honestly, Nanami is how you kill off a character, and Nobara is how you fake kill off a character. I'm assuming she's still alive. She may not be, but I spoiled myself on both Nanami and Nobara's deaths. I was Googling the characters because I really like their designs. I did the same thing with Demon Slayer. I'm such an idiot. I gotta stop Googling characters. Whenever I pick up a new series, I just gotta write myself a note. Get caught up before you read or Google anything, because it just pops up in the search bar. That's the one thing I don't like about Google. You can put in a character's name and their death or their spoiler will just pop up, and I hate it. But regardless of that, I love the Shibuya incident. All the death in it, all the suffering. Sukuna versus Mahorga. Just Megami, everything. Fantastic, beautiful arc. Definitely gonna talk about it a lot. Shibuya Aftermath. We're still in the Shibuya Aftermath arc, seeing so much. Honestly, the Shibuya incident is the war arc for My Hero Academia 10 times better, and that's it. The Shibuya Aftermath, it's very good. I like seeing Yuta's introduction. We're in a very interesting spot. I'm not going to talk about it too much because not much has happened. And honestly, that's my ranking. Yeah, shockingly enough, there's no why do you exist. I put it there, but the worst this series gets is meh. The rest of it, fantastic. Jujutsu Kaisen is very good. This is a series that maybe a bit overhyped. Everyone's saying it's like the most perfect manga ever. I wouldn't say all that. I wouldn't go that far, but it is pretty darn good, if you know what I'm saying. But those are my thoughts on the Jujutsu Kaisen arcs. Please drop your own favorite arcs in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, mainly because this is such a great series that I want to have more discussion on, especially on the manga side of things. I know not many of us are manga readers. But for my manga readers out there, please tell me what y'all think in the comment section down below. And also, if you are gonna like discuss very important story moments from the manga, don't spoil things. Like, at least warn people when they're scrolling. Like, drop a spoiler and then like hit enter a lot to go down a bit. I don't want to accidentally spoil anybody. This series is very good storytelling wise. But there's that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is that guy with the pencil, writing off.